मिस वर्ल्ड का खिताब अपने नाम कर चुकी मानुषी चिल्लर फिलहाल पीरियड्स के दौरान महिलाओं में पर्सनल हाइजीन के विषय पर जागरूकता फैलाने के मिशन पर है। एनडीएमसी व मिस वर्ल्ड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के आपसी सहयोग से कन्वेंशन सेंटर में बीते मंगलवार ब्यूटी विद पर्पस का कार्यक्रम आयोजित किया गया। इस प्रोग्राम में मिस वर्ल्ड 2017 मानुषी चिल्लर भी नजर आई।
I felt that with compassion in my heart, not only for the underprivileged but for everyone, with sincerity in my actions and a sole purpose to spread happiness, I always believed that I could contribute to this purpose. I never knew that I would be winning the title, but I always wanted to be a part of Beauty with a Purpose. And I think that is the core of Miss World, and that is what made me feel a part of it, made me want to work hard to be able to do justice to the platform that was given to me. When I was 18, I learned something about the domestic help who used to stay with us at home. And because my parents are both doctors, I was always quite involved with people as they used to run an NGO themselves. They still do. And I always loved being in that environment where you're able to make other people smile. So my domestic help had problem conceiving a child. And as she would discuss it with my mother, we ran a few tests. She visited many doctors, and it came out that she had fibrous tissue in her uterus. And when we tried to explain it to her why, my parents realized that she might have had an infection during her childhood, maybe during her puberty, due to which the fibrous tissue was formed, and the most probable cause of infection was poor menstrual hygiene, because she's never used a sanitary pad in her entire life. And that was the only fact that she could not conceive a child made her to marry thrice. And ultimately, when she could not finally have a child, she blamed herself for it and went into depression. That's when I realized that this has such a huge impact on lives around the world. That's when I knew that it was an issue, because as a child growing up with forward parents, where my school, I was blessed with good education, I never knew that this would be a problem. I then chose to study in rural Haryana, because Haryana is my home state, and I've never stayed over there because my father used to keep getting transferred around the country, and I've only stayed in metropolitans. But I chose to study over there because I realized that I have seen this side of the world, but to be a good doctor, I need to see the other side as well, and that's why I wanted to study in rural Haryana. And 1 year of college, I came to know that it was not just the lack of awareness. People knew that what they had to do when they were menstruating, but they didn't have the provision to practice it. They didn't have any shops nearby in their villages where they could buy sanitary pads. They would run out of generic pads, due to which they had to buy the expensive ones. Well, mostly their husbands would be out because they were all truck drivers, so they would be traveling. So women would not feel very comfortable to go out of their houses and purchase pads, especially from a man who's a shopkeeper. Keeping all this in mind, I took my project to the Miss India organization when I was preparing for Miss World, and they were quite excited about it. They told me that we can do a lot of good things if given the right push, if we go in the right direction, and that is when I associated with the local manufacturer of sanitary pads and Walmart India, and we worked across 3 states in the northern India. So along with awareness, we would create women entrepreneurs in villages who would source these low-cost pads and sell them in their villages. So that was a very small step that I made. But of course, after I won Miss World, and the Miss World organization decided to start this year's Miss World Beauty with a Purpose tour with my project in my home country, India, I knew that I could do so much more with whatever I have got right now, with God's grace. So we started in Hyderabad. It has only been 5 days that we've been touring. We've been working endlessly. I think I have to thank all these women, all these ladies, ladies, who've come from all across the globe to support me. I thank you so much, Stephanie, for not only crowning me that night, but for also coming here and keeping your promise to stand by me through this year. And of course, thank you so much to Ms. Julia Mole for bringing us all together and inspiring us to walk in purpose. we have had an incredible experience, because as a 20-year-old, to be able to do all of this, to be able to see so much, I never imagined I could achieve this much in a span of 5 days. I'd really like to thank Akar Innovations, because I saw something very interesting when I went to Kolkata. They were making sanitary pads from jute fiber. And I think it was something very new, because the quality is as good as a normal sanitary pad, because I myself, I got to make two, and thankfully they weren't as good, so they won't be sold. But we saw that they were not only biodegradable, but they were also compostable. So when we think about women's hygiene, of course, jute pad, because jute is easily available in India, they were not as expensive, but at the same time, they're not harmful for our environment. So I felt that with menstrual hygiene, we were also kind of saving the earth, which I never thought could be an initiative as well. Traveling to so many places, if you actually look at our social media, you'll come to know how much we've been traveling. We've been visiting schools, we've been visiting tribal communities, talking to them about menstruation. And the best thing is the kind of response that we've got. People are listening to us, people are understanding, and people are realizing that how important health and hygiene is for them to lead a normal life. And especially for women, 23% of girls in our country drop out of school after Minake, which is your first menstruation. And I, as a student, know the importance of education and what education can do to you. Today, if I am Miss World, if I am able to do this for myself and for people around me, of course, I know I could do it because I could practice basic hygiene. I knew I can achieve all of this because I was healthy. And I feel that every child deserves that equal opportunity. And like I said in my Beauty with a Purpose presentation, who knows, one of those girls can be the next Miss World. So thank you so much everyone for joining us.
मीडिया से बातचीत के दौरान मानुषी ने कहा कि समाज में बदलाव के लिए जरूरी नहीं कि हर काम का बोझ सरकार पर डाला जाए। अगर सभी लोग मिलकर काम करें तो हर नामुमकिन काम संभव है।
I think it's easier to go out and give people stuff for free, but that is short term, because it's not something that can be reused. You'll use it, but after then what? And as one group, I know that what our approach is to provide a system, a sustainable system, so that people are self-sufficient. We're not the government. We cannot take decisions, but we can help. We can make sure that, since like this kind of a system, we can make sure that they manufacture, they sell, they buy, so that the income is plowed back into the community. So this is a small approach that we're trying to make, and I know the impact is going to be huge, and it's a more sustainable system that we're working on, because providing things for free does not solve any problem. I just say that, well, you just said that the power of being Miss World and having the title, it just brought all of you here, didn't it? So we have the media with us today. We have dignitaries over here, and I think that is one of the biggest powers that a Miss World can have. Hi. So the first thing is, I can tell you from my experience that I've had. The first thing is that when I went to talk to these people, I went to them as one of them, you know, as another girl. And people would listen because, of course, I was a student and I was a medical student, so people want to listen to doctors as well. And the second thing what we did was that when we held sessions, we gave them samples of sanitary pads. And when they use a sanitary pad, the first time we did do it for free. So when they use a sanitary pad, they realize how much more comfortable it is. They themselves experience it, and you know, with that experience, then they don't want to go back to the older methods. The second thing is, of course, that when you go to these places and you speak to them, people have practices, and you respect that practice. We're not going there to tell them that they're doing something wrong, but we're only going there to tell them that how can they better their practices, because times are changing. Earlier, definitely we didn't have technology, so those practices might have been required. But what we tell them is a very logical thing, that you should know why you practice it. If you do not want to go to a certain part of your residence or your house, you should know that why are you not going. Maybe initially they did not have sanitary pads, so they would be scared that we might soil that area. but now we do. So I think these small talks with them, these discussions with not only the women, we worked with families together, because it is something which is not just to be confined towards girls. I think with these small efforts, they were quite accepting towards it, and with this kind of an approach, it's much easier to send a message across, rather than saying that you're doing something wrong, or rather than saying that this is against women. We want to say that whatever you're doing is all right, but this is how you can better your practices. And of course, whenever it comes to education, I think there is not a single person in this world who doesn't want to know more. I think everyone has that curiosity and that hunger to know more. And I think using that curiosity for knowledge that especially Indians have is something that we used throughout these programs. I think definitely if it's a part of the election manifesto, it will, but I think every single person, not just politicians, have a responsibility when it comes to health. And if everyone takes this up, then there'll be no one to fight against.
I think your magic and beauty should push it through. Right.
I think it already is, and I'm very proud to say that when I went for my homecoming to my home state, Haryana, the Chief Minister declared free sanitary pads for girls in schools.
Thank you.
So, well, that's the power of Miss World.
इस कार्यक्रम में मिस वर्ल्ड 2016 स्टेफनी डेलवेल, मिस वर्ल्ड यूरोप, मिस वर्ल्ड इंग्लैंड, मिस वर्ल्ड ओशियाना, मिस वर्ल्ड कैरिबियन, मिस वर्ल्ड अमेरिका भी शामिल हुई.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephanie Del Valle, Miss World 2016, aka the girl who crowned your wonderful Miss World 2017, Manushi. As a Miss World, I have had the opportunity to travel the world and to see many things because of our work through Beauty with a Purpose. And a lot of the things that we see is injustice, whether it be because there are children who don't receive enough education, who don't have access to food, who don't have housing, who don't have water, basic necessities like that. It is really incredible to see how Manushi's project has brought us all together to promote something as important as hygiene, as important as feminine hygiene. And we have had the incredible opportunity to talk to so many girls about the importance of feminine hygiene, because as everyone has mentioned here, not only will it allow us to eventually continue creating life, but it just makes our life much happier, much healthier, because we would be taking care of ourselves, and moving this message forward is really important, because it is not only a situation here in India, but all over the world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, thank you so much for having us all here. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we really appreciate the fact that you're willing to listen and help us spread our message across. So Manushi's project really is a very personal interest of mine. As a fellow medical profession, my background is in radiotherapy and oncology and the study of cancer. So gynecological care and feminine hygiene is absolutely essential as one of the preventative medicines against gynecological cancers. So this project has incredible gravity, and it is incredibly inspiring to see someone like Manushi taking this across.
Hi, good afternoon. I am Andrea. I come from Mexico, and I'm Miss World America 2017. It's a pleasure for me to be here in India and with all of these people. I am a software engineer, and as a software engineer, I understand all the process about the production of these sanitary pads, and I think it's a really good project. I believe in it, and not only because of that, not only because I'm an engineer, I understand all the process and all the benefits it has to the population and to the environment, but because for 4 years and a half, I studied in a school surrounded only by men, because for some reason the women were not interested in my career. And so I used to feel ashamed, and I used to hide, when I was in those days of my period. I used to not talk to all of my friends, or maybe just wanna stay quiet. And I also felt kind of alone. And then I realized that there was nothing to feel ashamed, and I want to empower all these women all around the world and here in India to embrace themselves, to embrace what they are, that women are really beautiful in all the aspects. So I'm really grateful to be here, to have this opportunity to work in this project with the hand of Manushi and all the Continental Queens, and of course, with all the people from India that brought this incredible project, this incredible product as the sanitary pads that are eco-friendly.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Maglin Jeruto, Miss World Africa 2017, and I am from Kenya. It's so happy to be here today, and I just want to say thank you so much for your warm welcome. It's been such an amazing time being in India. Allow me to say this and to ask a question to each and every one of you. How many girls do you think that they are denied right to education because of menstruation hygiene and due to lack of sanitary towels all over the world? Of course, no one knows. It's such a huge percentage, not only in India, but in Africa and the entire globe. I come from Africa, and specifically Kenya, where menstruation is considered such a taboo and associated with cultural belief in some communities. When a girl receives their menstrual periods, they are not allowed to associate with other children. They are not allowed to touch property or to look after the animals or anything in the family, because it's believed if they do so, the family will lose such property. So it's so painful to see a girl undergo such depression, and I'm so happy to Manushi for actually championing such a beautiful cause, which is not only to Indian community, but it's affecting all of us, not only to a girl child and to a woman, but to the entire society, to boys, to men, to our brothers and male child. It's affecting everyone, and we all know if it's something that if we can work on it, something that we can talk about it, we can manage. And it's not that we are talking about menstrual period because it was not there. It has been there for decades. It's something that we are born with. So it's not that actually advocating and telling people to come up and to solve this situation right now, but it's just like a call for everyone, governments, leaders, and each one of us to at least solve this issue once and for all. Let's restore our woman dignity.
Namaste, kaise aap? I'm Han Kim from Korea, and I'm representing Asia in Miss World 2017. Thank you so much for all of your warm welcome, and thank you so much for giving us a chance to share this moment with you. I really want to share what's happening in Korea because it made me really want to involved in Manushi's project, and it made me really want to spread this awareness of feminine hygiene to the world. Last year, there was teenage girls from low-income house families, like households. They didn't have money to get sanitary pads, which is pretty expensive in Korea, so they used shoe insoles or toilet papers instead of. And just a few months ago, we found out that almost every domestic sanitary pads factory in Korea, they used bad material, which has harmful chemicals for making, when they were making sanitary pads. So because it's really related into our health, like women's health, I really wanted to participate in this project. And we have been visiting a lot of areas in India, spreading out the awareness of feminine hygiene. And we have also been talking and sharing about what's happening and how the situation is in all of our countries.
Namaste. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Solange Sinclair, and I'm from Jamaica, representing the Caribbean. And the Caribbean is quite literally across the world. But it's funny that no matter where in the world you are, you face similar realities. Because very similar to here, in many countries in the Caribbean, feminine hygiene and menstruation is considered a very taboo topic. Young girls are not taught how to properly care for themselves, and they are taught to be ashamed of such an important time, because menstruation is a symbol for a woman to give life and to give nutrition and to continue life. So for something so important, it's very unfortunate that where I'm from, it's considered so taboo and people do not want to talk about it. So for me to be here with Manushi and supporting her incredible project is very dear to me and very important as well, because the young girls here in India, you know, Akkad, who is providing a combustible, affordable sanitary pad to change the lives of young girls, they are models and for the rest of the world. You know, this is something that I will see here. We will see the change that is happening, and this is something that I can carry back with me to my home and say, this is what is going on, this is how we can change it, and this is how we can empower our young girls and our women.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to see a familiar face in the audience. I'm so honoured that you stayed here an extra day to come and see me. As a university student of finance and politics, I know all too well the struggles of affording something as simple as sanitary products. In New Zealand, 10 pads cost about 250 rupees, and for some people I know personally as university students, it is something hard to fit into your budget, and it's not right that something that is a necessity to all women around the world is taxed so heavily. We need to talk about this issue, and press conferences such as today really do empower our young women, and they realise that menstruation is nothing to be ashamed of. If people such as ourselves are talking about it, they think to themselves, well, there must be nothing wrong with it if people are speaking so openly about it. So it is so important to talk about menstruation, to educate about menstruation, and to make sure that no girl should ever feel ashamed, because nothing in this world can stop an empowered woman.
This is the first time in India, and I'm really enjoying this beautiful country. Well, mostly I have to say the food. I'm in love with your food, I really do. And well, of course, the people. I think everyone has been so enthusiastic about us, and I'm so thankful for that. As Miss Mexico, I have my Beauty with a Purpose project in Mexico, which I'm working with kids that don't have parents. But here in India, we are working with the Beauty with a Purpose project of Manushi Chillar, which is Miss World 2017. And well, we are supporting the feminine hygiene here in India.
What do I like in India? What's not to like? The incredible people. It's just, everyone makes you feel like family, you know, and you never feel lonely. As you come to this foreign country, and when people are so warm, it really radiates warmth. Yes, it's the first time. I have many friends, Indian friends in New Zealand, and they're always telling me about New Delhi and Mumbai, so I'm very excited to be here.
This is my first time, definitely not my last. Yes, actually I work on human trafficking and sexual abuse in Jamaica. It is something that's very prevalent, so that's what I'm working on back in my home country.
This is my first time in India. It's somewhere I've always wanted to go. I've always wanted to travel and experience the culture, so it truly is a privilege to be here. Like all the Miss World Continental winners, I do have a Beauty with a Purpose project myself, which is called the Magical Memories Foundation, and the purpose of that is to bring magical memories to children and their families who are currently going through hard times. They might be receiving treatment for cancer in the form of the service I provide is entertainment purposes, to try and take their minds off whatever's going on. But of course, as we're here in India, to support Manushi's project for feminine hygiene awareness.
No, this is my second time in India, because as Miss World last year, I visited here for the Miss India final, actually, where I first saw Manushi. And we also visited the Muktangan school, so India has a very special place in my heart. I think the main difference between Puerto Rico and India would have to be the food, because it is so different. Here you guys have a lot of curries and so many vegetarian options, which back home are very rare to find. We eat a lot of meats and a lot of rice and a lot of plantains and a lot of a bunch of things. But something that we do have in common is definitely the warmth of our people. I would say India even a little more than in Puerto Rico. I would love to be in a Bollywood film. I'm an aspiring actress. I've been doing theater and performing musically since I was about 4 years old, and so if I could have a career here in India, I think I would be the happiest person alive. Yes, I support multiple causes, starting off with my Beauty with a Purpose project when I was competing as Miss World, which was Lily's Angels, where I started a musical therapy session for children from the ages of 2 to 4 with Down syndrome, and creating an inclusive interaction as well. So this allowed children of all backgrounds, all different conditions, to experience and better themselves through musical therapy. And of course, with Beauty with a Purpose, everything that they support, I've supported as well.
Bureau Report, News Times India.